Hey everybody, Bonehead from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Theory Thursday. So every week we get together and we have a look at something to do with Blood Bowl. We take a bit of a deep dive, whether it's stats or strats, we just find out fun stuff about the game. Maybe it's going to help you win, maybe it's going to help you lose, maybe it's just something else. So last week we looked at Giants, and this week we're going to take a look at referees on the pitch. So in this month's White Dwarf 466, which you can go download a copy of now, on Apple, I recommend you just using the iBooks function. Don't go to the digital thing, otherwise you'll buy it. Maybe you won't get the download link and they'll still charge you for it. Be warned. So basically we've got cool models of referees now. We've had them before and they didn't really do anything. We got two referees in the box set and they still didn't really do anything. But Games Workshop in this month's White Dwarf have now got rules for having referees on the pitch, and I thought this Theory Thursday we'd have a look and see just how they worked. So with this referee rule, basically both coaches have got to agree. It's the same as basically everything in the Death Zone book, okay? So this is definitely one of the ones for fun or something you've decided for your league. Like this week we're going to be playing with referees, guys. This week we're going to play with Giants. It's just a cool, different way to play. Hey, more Blood Bowl is more better. So the standard referee template basically replaces the normal rules for fouling, for being sent off at the end of the drive, stuff like that. Basically, you have one referee and he's on the pitch, which means he can be blocked and they move around. So we'll talk through that as they go. But standard referee stats: movement 5, strength 2, so easy target, edge 3+, armor 8+, again easy target, no skills, nothing fun. So that's the generic referee, but we do have two kind of special referees, but realistically there's a dwarf referee and an elf referee. Let's have a look at them now. And the elf referee is Elnos Lawkeeper, movement 6, strength 3, edge 3+, armor 7+, so actually a little bit more vulnerable. Special rule: players that are sent off by Elnos Lawkeeper cannot argue the call under any circumstances. Okay, fair enough. So we've got a more fragile referee here, but comes with this rule that is ever present and you cannot argue the call. Interesting. Definitely worth killing this guy. And the dwarf Redcur Forgebeard, movement 4, strength 3, so slower but stronger, so less easy to block off the pitch. Edge 3+, armor 8+, that's the same as the standard referee. By the book, players that commit a foul action suffer a -1 penalty to the d6 when rolling to see if they're sent off for being near him. So that's probably a good segue. So what we're going to look at is the way that these referees work, basically. So they move around on the pitch at the end of both of your turns together. So I go for my first turn, you go for your first turn, and then it's the referee's turn. And during that period, they'll move around the pitch. How close you are to the referee is now directly related to whether or not you're sent off for having a foul and things like that. So there is no doubles anymore. So if you are playing with a live referee, I'm hoping they'll bring an undead one out just to ruin that sentence. But if you're playing with a live referee, it is now about how close you are to the referee, not how grievous your foul is. So when you run a referee, basically you put him on the pitch, you set up for kickoff. Let me just double check this here. So you set up, your opponent sets up, and then the kicking team places the referee on one of the two sidelines on their half of the pitch. Has to be as close as possible to the line of scrimmage. So if you have got somebody on the line of scrimmage on the sideline, can't go there, so we'll go to the square next door to it, but it will be along the sideline. So it's deployed in the kicking team's half and must be placed adjacent to a sideline and as close to the line of scrimmage as possible. The coach of the kicking team may decide which sideline the referee is deployed adjacent to. So this is a massive benefit to you if you are a fouling team. Okay, Black Orcs, Goblins. If you just want to go stomping, you can actually send him one side of the pitch, and on the right hand side, you chuck him on the left hand, and on the right hand side you can just go to town for fouling, because the difference in distance will affect the chance of you being sent off. So moving the referee will always move after both teams have taken a turn. So like I said, kicking team takes a turn, receiving team takes a turn, referees take a turn. And the way they move is and I know Bloodtithe talked about this on our last podcast because he was like, that seems a bit egregious. I actually don't think it's going to be all that bad. There's no dodging. These guys don't have tackle zones. They don't have to dodge out of people's tackle zones because they move like ball and chains. Now, it's kind of an interesting one. So ball and chain is the D3 template. the same one that's used for ball and chain and for throw-ins, and basically you orientate it towards the ball, so the closest angle to the ball. If it's diagonal, you get to choose, basically. I'm not sure they actually cover that, but that's what I do. In fact, in that situation, I'd probably do corner on. But what does it actually say? Referee will always move after both turns have taken a team, and then again, blah, 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 blah. So place the throw-in template over the referee, pointing towards either sideline or end zone in a direction towards the ball. Then roll a d6 and move the referee 1 square in that direction. Repeat this process a number of times equal to the referee's MA. So that's 5 for a generic referee, 6 for an elf, and 4 for a dwarf. If a referee would move on to the ball or into a square containing the player, they do not move into that square and their turn will immediately end. The referee ignores all tackle zones when they move and don't have tackle zones themselves. Referees never provide assists of any kind, and if the ball bounces on them, they just ignore it. Basically, they've got no hands and the ball scatters from them, which is kind of a shame. It would actually be really fun if a referee could get past the ball or just hand it off the ball or something, or they just pick it up on a scatter and then you actually have to take them out. It's very similar to some of the rules we talked about on one of the podcasts a while ago when we had Sam on to talk about like wild monsters and things on the pitch, kind of Colosseum style, like wandering monsters, wandering refs who can actually catch the ball and then you have to take them out. There is no rules there, so if the ball ends up being diagonal, so if your referee is here and the ball is here, it's a tough one to decide. I think you probably just have to flip for it or agree something. I'm not really sure. Alternatively, I guess in that situation you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is probably the best way to do it. I think it makes the most logical sense to kind of like turn this diagonally. I mean, it doesn't really matter because it can't move onto the ball anyway, so just goes towards the ball, gets closer and closer and closer. So the closer the action is, where i.e. the ball is, the more likely you are to get called out for a foul. So as we said, basically as close as you are to the ball, the closer you are, the easier it is to be sent off. So essentially a foul action committed while the referee is nearby will be much easier for them to spot. Conversely, foul actions committed further away will be less likely to be spotted, if at all. A particularly sneaky player might be able to get away with a number of devious fouls if the referee is elsewhere on the pitch. So whenever a player makes a foul action, they will not be sent off if they roll a double for armor, etc, etc. Instead, after the foul has been taken, you roll on this chart here. So count the number of squares between the player and the referee, and roll on the chart. So if you are 1 square away, if you're standing next to the referee, they're going to see you on a 2+. 2 to 3, 3+, 4 to 5, 4+, 6 to 7, 5+, and 8 to 9, 6+. If you are more than that, the referee is not going to see you at all because you are too far away. So if you're 10 or more squares away from the referee, you can foul to your heart's content, which is actually pretty awesome. Now, if they do get sent off, it's standard rules and you can argue the call as normal unless you are playing with an elf who likes things done by the book. Actually, that's quite cool. That's quite thematic. And I do love this. So far, what we've got is, yeah, I know, at the end of our turn, collectively, we have to ball and chain 4, 5, 6 squares. That's not really the end of the world. What it does do is it creates this bubble where it influences and changes how you can play the game. So if, he's going to start on the line of scrimmage, which actually means that as far as this goes, only kind of the end zones are safe. But as the ball goes one way or the other, the referee is going to move up that way, and it means that action away from the ball, you can be a free-for-all, okay? So you can run around and foul as much as you like with star players. Like, this is really good news for Borak. Normally, you wouldn't want to risk your 300k star player taking a cheeky foul, even if he does have dirty player. But this means that guard and dirty player, in situations where you're running a standard referee like this, they get better because you don't have that inherent risk, unless you're standing next to the referee, which I think is actually very thematic, and I don't know, it's another cool and different interaction with the game. It's another cool thing to play around. But if you really want to foul the other team, what you can do is block the ref. You can take the ref out. Now, if the ref is gone, okay, that's it. Fouls are free. Everything is free. Okay, so that's really quite cool, especially if you're a goblin team, you've got secret weapons, because secret weapons don't get sent off anymore if the referee has been gone. So let's actually check the rules out for this. So players from either team may declare block actions on the referee as the same as they normally would in opposition players, etc. like that. And you follow up. And you do armor, and you have to stun them and casualty them and KO them, which is so good. Okay, so if you're running this in a league or you're having a friendly league or whatever, definitely give an extra MVP to any player that takes out the referee. Just just way too much fun. So if you block the referee, if you stab the referee, if you do anything to the referee and he's not stunned, KO'd, murdered, whatever, okay, if the referee is just not prone, or not at all, he's going to stand right up again and send you off immediately. Regardless, brazenly breaking the rules and putting the boot in on the referee will undoubtedly result in a red card if the referee is still standing to show one. Any player that makes a block, foul, stab, chainsaw attack against the referee will automatically be sent off if the action does not result in stunned, KO'd or casualty result on the referee. Players sent off this way may never argue the call. So if you do try to take out the referee with a cheeky stab or a massive block and it fails, you're getting sent off. I like that. It adds an element of risk, but it's also super fluffy. Right, actually, we need to foul these guys out. Let's go take out the referee. Goblin teams, this is perfect for you. If you've got those secret weapons, the first thing you need to do is take out that referee. Once the referee is gone, bribes don't matter. Nothing else matters. You've got your guys forever. If a referee is pushed into the crowd, then they don't get injured by the then they do not risk injury by the crowd as a normal player, though you should still make an armor roll to see if the referee is affected by the initial block action if required. Instead, if the referee has not been stunned, KO'd or removed as a casualty, then re-enter the pitch from a sideline as close to the line of scrimmage as possible in a place chosen by the coach whose team did not push the referee off the pitch. Fair enough. If the referee's armor was not broken when they were pushed off into the pitch, then the player that pushed them off will be sent off as normal. This does not apply if the referee was pushed off the pitch as a result of a chain push. So you can chain push the ref off, no problem at all. This is the most important line here. Whilst a referee is off the pitch, stunned, KO'd or removed as a casualty, players cannot be sent off for any reason until the referee is back on the pitch. This may even mean that players with the secret weapon trait are not sent off at the end of a drive. And that's what I mean. So if you want to, if it's the end of the drive, you're about to score, your opponent's about to score, you do not want your guys sent off, get the referee off the pitch. And you don't have to injure him. If he's off the pitch, you're good to go. If he's killed, then you're good to go for the rest of the game. So Theory Thursday is normally about finding a different way, looking at the stats, finding a better way to play the game. This is all about fun, okay? But it also, as you can tell, does change up the dynamic of the match a little bit. Alright, there's going to be a lot of teams out there that don't foul because they don't want to risk it. Having the referee on there is really interesting. You can't move through him, he doesn't have a tackle zone, but he takes up a square. He also kind of gives you something to do if there's nothing else going on. You can just block the referee out for the lols. You can try and take him out, which is again actually pretty awesome. I 100% recommend additional MVPs if you're going to use referees in your rules. I don't think these would be very good for tournaments because you're just introducing another element in a time window that probably could do without a little less complication in a place where people are trying to be competitive. It would be very aggravating if a referee just kind of wandered into the way of your one and only running lane. That would be a bit egregious. In a league, it's a bit more fun, and if you're playing for fun as well, if you're just having a friendly game, having a referee on there is pretty good. But I think most importantly, we've got some very cool referee models. There are third parties that make very cool referee models. You can now go and make, custom build your own referee models and rules and things like that, and you can have them on the pitch. You can even have two. You can just go to town and just add this cool extra element to Blood Bowl. It will be fun to use, it will be a little bit more complicated than the rest of Blood Bowl, and you know what, every time you introduce an auxiliary rule like this, it does add complications, but it adds actually what I think to be quite a lot of theme. Alright, just how great would it be to chainsaw the referee away and then just have a riot on both sides, okay? There's no fouls sent off, there's no secret weapons sent off. Like, just imagine that. It would be fantastic. It'd be like, oh man, I got fouled off the pitch. Really, what happened? Oh, they took out the referee on turn 1 and then just absolutely put the boot in every single time. That's brilliant. What a Blood Bowl story. Absolutely love it. I was really not expecting to like these rules. I haven't played with them, to be fair, because, you know, who's played Blood Bowl in the last 3 days? But I don't think it's going to be that big of an impact at the end of each turn. It definitely adds a story element of it. I don't think we're going to see these used very often, but actually of all the special rules and all the additional rules out there, I think this is pretty fun. And you know what, guys, when next time you're playing a friendly or something like that, chuck it on, run with these rules and just have a good time. Because I like the story element, I like the theme, and it really does fit in with the Blood Bowl universe. I actually think this is a really great shout. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. Thanks for joining me. Let me know what you think of this. I think it's great, but I want to know what you guys think. Is it too convoluted? I know that we don't need it. Sure, you don't need it, but it's cool to have. And, you know, I'm on board with that. Anyway, I'm going to disappear now. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.